Okay, so let's get into this. If you're listening right now, chances are things might feel, well, incredibly heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're right on that edge thinking about divorce.
Yeah.
Or maybe you've just, let yourself actually think that word or say it for the very first time.
Yeah. And if that's where you are, if that sounds familiar, we really want to start by saying this loud and clear. You are definitely not alone in this.
Not at all. And you absolutely don't have to figure all this out by yourself.
Right. And that's really the core of what we're doing in this deep dive. We're pulling straight from source material that's designed for exactly this moment, that initial phase.
Looking at those first crucial steps.
Exactly. It's a guide that offers practical wisdom, real concrete actions you can take.
And just so we're crystal clear up front, this deep dive, it's about sharing that wisdom, those steps, from the source material. It's absolutely not legal advice.
Crucial distinction.
Our goal here is really to walk through those first foundational steps the source lays out, to help you maybe start building some footing, find a little bit of clarity,
Yeah.
because it's often just, it's such a time of overwhelm, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Uncertainty, overwhelm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about starting small, finding ways to just ground yourself a bit, creating some sense of um, agency, maybe,
Hmm.
when everything feels like it's spinning.
Right. So let's look at those first steps the source recommends for building that foundation.
Yeah.
Where does it start?
Okay, so the source kicks off with something very practical, almost surprisingly so, maybe, given all the emotion involved.
Yeah.
But it makes sense when you hear why. Step one is gather your key documents.
Documents. Okay.
And the source says, do this whether you think you're filing tomorrow or, maybe not for months. It doesn't matter yet.
Why start there? What's the thinking?
Well, the way the source frames it is pretty powerful. It's not about, gearing up for a fight. It's about preparing for yourself. It's about getting a really clear picture of your financial situation, your assets, before things get potentially messy or emotional.
Like a personal baseline.
Kind of like creating your own personal situation report, yeah. Before the storm, maybe.
Got it. So what specific documents does the source say are key here? What should people look for?
It's pretty comprehensive, covering the whole financial picture. So things like bank statements, pay stubs, tax returns, recent ones,
Sure.
credit card bills, definitely, mortgage papers or lease agreements, and really anything else that shows shared money, shared property, shared debt, anything with both your names on it.
It sounds like quite a bit of paper or digital files, I guess.
It can be. And the source suggests what to do once you have them.
Just
Simple stuff, but really important. Scan everything, make digital copies, save them securely, like cloud storage or a separate hard drive only you can access, and the physical copies.
Right.
Tuck them away somewhere genuinely safe, maybe outside the house if you can swing it, a trusted friend, a safety deposit box, something like that.
Like building your own little information vault.
That's a good way to put it. And the source is really clear. This isn't about being paranoid.
Right.
It's about being proactive,
Oh.
prepared. Having all this information together puts you in a stronger position whenever you decide what's next, or even just to understand where things stand right now.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Grounding yourself in the facts first. So with that practical base covered, the source then moves to step 2. Understand your rights.
Yeah, and this is where the legal side starts to come in, which I imagine can feel pretty overwhelming for a lot of people.
Actually daunting.
It really can be. And the source points out why this is step 2, because every state, every jurisdiction has different laws.
Ah, right. It's not the same everywhere.
Not at all, especially around really critical things like how is property that you acquired during the marriage divided up? That's often called, property division. And also, how are decisions about the kids handled? Where they live, visitation schedules, all the things under child custody.
And not knowing how your specific state handles those things.
It can make you feel completely powerless, adrift,
So just getting a basic handle on it can make a real difference to that feeling. How does the source suggest someone starts doing that? Where do you even begin?
It gives a few practical starting points. First, honestly, a simple Google search for your state's divorce laws. It can give you a general overview.
Okay, basic research.
Yeah. Second, it really recommends reaching out to local legal aid offices. Many offer free initial consultations, which is huge. Just getting that first bit of professional insight.
Free consultations are definitely worth looking into.
Absolutely. And third, maybe connect with support forums or online communities, places where people in your specific area are sharing their own experiences, what they learned locally.
So you get the sort of official view and also the real-world perspective.
Exactly. Both can be really valuable.
And the core message from the source for this step, it feels pretty important right now.
It really is. It boils down to knowledge is power.
Simple but true.
And the source adds this layer. Right now, in this situation, power equals peace. Just getting that foundational grasp of your rights in your location, it can cut through a lot of anxiety. It gives you like a calmer place to stand.
Turning knowledge into a kind of inner peace. I like that. Okay, so building on that, step 3 starts looking ahead a bit. Make a game plan.
Right.
Now that sounds big.
Yeah.
Like you need your whole future mapped out.
Yeah, and the source clarifies it's not necessarily about having a 10-year strategy right this second.
Phew.
It's more about starting to ask yourself some really essential what-if questions, the ones that are critical for just thinking about future stability, even if the answers aren't clear yet.
What kind of what-ifs? What are the specific questions the source suggests?
It focuses on 3 main areas, really fundamental ones. First, where will you live?
Okay, big one.
Huge.
Yeah.
Second, how will you support yourself financially? What does that look like? And third, obviously, if you have kids, what about them? Thinking about their needs, their routines, how things might work moving forward.
Those are definitely the big, maybe scary questions.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the benefit, according to the source, of tackling them now, even if you don't have answers?
Well, the insight is that just the act of writing down potential scenarios, even just brainstorming ideas, it helps you feel a bit more in control.
Okay. Less swirling uncertainty.
Exactly. The source suggests it can shift that kind of abstract fear, that dread of the complete unknown, into something more concrete you can look at. It helps turn fear into focus, because now you're identifying specific things you could start thinking about addressing.
Fear into focus.
Yeah.
It's a useful way to think about it. Okay, so moving from future planning, step 4 brings it back to connection. Build your support system.
Yes, because going through this, it can feel incredibly lonely, isolating.
For sure.
And the source really underlines this. You are not supposed to do this alone. You don't have to do this alone.
So who should you be looking for? What kind of people make up this support system?
The source uses a great term, safe people.
Safe people. I like that.
Yeah. These are the folks who can just listen without judging, without jumping in to fix everything or tell you what you should do.
Just hold space.
Exactly. And crucially, they're the ones who remind you of who you are, separate from the relationship dynamics. They see you, the person, not just you and the partnership.
People who see the real you, especially when maybe you feel a bit lost yourself.
Precisely. And the source makes another really important point here. It is absolutely okay if that circle of safe people feels really small right now.
Quality over quantity.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it also mentions that communities exist specifically for people going through this. Communities built because this kind of support is just so vital.
All right. People who just get it. Okay, that leads us to step 5. And this one feels like it's underneath everything else, really. The source calls it the core step. Non-negotiable.
Yeah. Step 5, take care of you.
Self-care. But probably deeper than bubble baths, right?
Much deeper. Although bubble baths might help too. But the source points out how profoundly divorce impacts everything. It's not just legal, logistical. It hits your physical body, your sleep, your focus.
Your ability to parent, probably.
Absolutely. Your capacity for everything gets strained. And if you're not actively trying to replenish your own well, everything else just gets exponentially harder.
Makes sense. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So what kind of actions does the source suggest here, beyond, trying to get some sleep?
It includes some gentle things, yes. Like literally take walks. Take intentional deep breaths. Let yourself nap if you need it. Basic physical regulation stuff.
Okay.
But it also includes actions that are about reclaiming yourself. Learning to say no to things that drain you. Practicing saying, I need help. That's a big one.
And hard for many people.
Very hard. And maybe the most powerful one. Learning to say and starting to believe, I deserve more.
Wow. Saying, I deserve more as an act of self-care, that hits.
It's fundamental. These aren't just little coping tricks. They are acts of rebuilding your sense of self-worth, setting boundaries that you need for healing.
So what's the main takeaway the source wants us to get from this take care of you step?
The real healing. The kind that lets you actually rebuild and move forward.
Yeah.
It starts when you give yourself permission to stop just surviving.
Shifting from survival mode.
Exactly. Shifting from just getting through the day, the hour, to intentionally allowing yourself to recover, to feel what you need to feel, to actively nurture the person you are becoming through this.
Okay, so recap those first 5 steps from the source. Gather your document's practical foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Understand your rights empowerment through knowledge.
Right.
Make a game plan, turning fear into focus.
Yep.
Build your support system, finding strength and connection.
Crucial.
And finally, take care of you, the core of healing and reclaiming yourself.
That's the sequence. It's a really powerful pathway, actually, moving from feeling lost in the chaos
Yeah.
to taking these concrete steps that start building momentum, building a sense of possibility again.
And the source ends this section with such, I don't know, a really profound message. It ties it all together. You didn't plan for this. You are not broken.
You are becoming.
You are becoming. That's powerful.
It really is. And the very fact that you're listening to this, seeking out this kind of information, that itself is a huge step in that becoming process.
Right. It means you're already moving towards finding your footing, looking towards something.
Yeah.
Something better, maybe?
Absolutely. Taking action.
And for anyone listening who feels like they need more of that strength, more strategy, that solidarity from people who really get it,
Mm-hmm.
the source mentioned a specific community resource.
It did, yeah.
Yep.
It pointed towards a community called Phoenix Moms Rise. You can find them on social media. Their handle is @PhoenixMomsRise.
Okay, at Phoenix Moms Rise, a place designed for this journey.
Exactly, for finding that shared strength.
So let's end on that idea. You are becoming. Just sit with that for a second, thinking about these first steps: gathering info, understanding your situation, planning, connecting, caring for yourself. What did that journey of becoming actually look like for you right now as you start to take these steps? What might it mean to feel yourself intentionally moving into that next version of yourself?